हाय भैया।
हेलो।
मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाह रहा था कि
क्रिएटिविटी का मतलब है किसी चीज़ को क्रिएट करना, राइट? कहाँ से शुरू करें ये सोचने की क्रिएटिविटी क्या है? लोग चीज़ें करते हैं, वो चीज़ें जैसी चीज़ें होती हैं, हर आदमी चीज़ों को वैसा ही करता है जैसे वो होती आ रही है। और आप अपने जीवन में ज़्यादातर चीज़ें जो करते हैं वो ऐसे करते हैं जैसे वो नॉर्मली होती हैं। सब वॉशिंग मशीन में कपड़े धोते तो आप भी वॉशिंग मशीन में कपड़े धोते हैं। फ्रिज में खाना रखते हैं तो आप भी फ्रिज में ही खाना रखते हैं। ऐसा तो नहीं होता कि आप फ्रिज में कपड़े डाल के एक्सपेक्ट करेंगे कि वो धुल जाए या फिर वॉशिंग मशीन में खाना रखने लगे। लेकिन कुछ ऐसे चीज़ होती है लाइफ में, कुछ ऐसे स्पेसिफिक सिचुएशन है जहाँ पर आपको दिखा कि जैसे चीज़ें हो रही हैं वैसा ना करके अगर उसको अलग तरीके से करें, थोड़ा सा अलग करें, तो वो समझ लो उसका जो भी आउटकम होगा इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ द आउटकम ऑफ दैट, एंड गिवन कि वो चीज़ कॉन्शियसली की जा रही है, राइट? कॉन्शियसली जैसे किसी मतलब कॉन्शियसली कुछ ट्राई कर रहे हो, कुछ अलग करने का टाइप, राइट? तो वो एक बर्निंग पॉइंट है क्रिएटिव एनर्जी का। क्रिएटिव एनर्जी इज नॉट एनी ऑफ द, इट्स नॉट एन एनर्जी टेक्निकली एज पर फिजिक्स। सो हियर आई mean it in a completely metaphorical sense, that creative energy or that creative a positive a positive river of or a flood of positive emotions, something like that, right? Towards seeing things as people don't generally see. For example, I don't know, you can make a painting of my hand, right, and put it behind a peacock as its fin or something, right? So I mean, it might not look good, it might look bad, it might not be that great or something, but it's something that you don't usually think about. Like, who thinks about imagining a person's hand as a peacock's fin or something, right? So that is the birth of that creative energy. Now you make this, let's say, right? You go ahead with that instinct and you see that okay, something has been made, it's not that great, because you know what great is, because you have always consumed art, right? Everyone consumes art. Like, we rarely know anyone in the history, like if you go too far back in history, maybe you'll find that there were some groups of people who never came across art, but it's unlikely because they had art of their own. Like, certain things they do that don't make sense in a very generic productive way, but it makes them feel good, so they're doing it, right? Painting or whatever, or dancing or singing or whatever. So you have some idea about, you have some reference in your form of what is good, what looks good, what feels good, and you felt that maybe if I put this hand as a peacock's tail, it'll give me a good feeling, or it'll convey something, it'll bring something out of me or the person who sees it. Something, it can even make you aware of something. That is also a good feeling, right? So when you do that and you feel that, you find that it's not good, and it's not good. Okay, it's not like there's some objective standard, it's good or bad. How can one ever make that in a subjective world, right? कि ऑब्जेक्टिवली चीज़ सही है। बस एक ही मेजर हम बोल सकते हैं कि बहुत सारे लोग इसको बोल रहे हैं कि अच्छा है तो वो अच्छा है, पर ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि हो सकता है कि मेरे को मतलब अगर तुम मुंह में मास्क दिख रहा है मुझे, तो मुंह में लगाने वाला मास्क अगर तुम किसी एक पैटर्न में सजा दो किसी रूम में, ठीक है, या उसे कोई तुम घर बना दो, तो वो मेरे को बहुत अच्छा लगे। लेकिन आपके आईज में जो आपको लगता है कि वो सही है या नहीं है, वो हमेशा होता है वो जजमेंट, क्योंकि आपके पास एक स्केल है, क्या सही है क्या गलत है। तो आप क्या होता है कि उस स्केल में आप कोई चीज़ अपनी, और उस स्केल को भी छोड़ दो जो एक एक्सटर्नल स्केल है, एक इंटरनल स्केल भी है आपका, कि आप मैं ये कन्वे करने की कोशिश कर रहा था, ठीक है, इसके थ्रू इस मतलब जैसे कि आप कोई ऐसी चीज़ कर रहे हो जो पहले से नहीं हुई, तो क्यों कर रहे हो, क्योंकि कुछ कन्वे करने की कोशिश है ना आपके अंदर। तो आप कुछ कन्वे करना चाह रहे हो कि मतलब पक्षी के बारे में, इंसान के बारे में, इंसान के हाथ पक्षी से कुछ जोड़ रहे हो, या कुछ ऐसी कोई चीज़ मान लो, हो सकता है कोई you're doing a photography for an article which is about how the bone structure in human hand is remarkably similar to the bone structure in peacock's back or something, right? Then this makes perfect sense, right? In that context. So and you might have done a very good job, but without that context, if you just do it, you might not like it. I mean, so there's an intent that you have to create. You want to create something. Where that intent comes from, that's a different question altogether. But that intent gets fulfilled in finding ways in which people don't usually think about that. Okay, and because I wouldn't say making formula films or writing formula stories or whatever is creativity, right? I mean, it is creative in some sense, right? It's not like it's not creative if you're doing everything for the duty. Even replicating is like, but these are training exercises for creativity, right? It's like you're like you've seen so many movies and there's a formula, and generally these things happen. So when you didn't do anything unique, you just try to replicate that, but obviously your character was different or whatever. Or maybe there's a book written in a certain way and you're going to write it in the same way, you're copying the painting of Khalil Hosseini or someone. So you are creative when you are doing something which is not done in that way. I would not say necessarily ever, at least not generally. And then you mix those things and you create something new, and you fulfill your intent to create something new, right? So that is where I think creativity comes from. It's just, if you haven't tasted honey, how would I ever convey what honey tastes like unless you have tasted? I can try to say that when you taste honey, it feels like this happens or that happens, and maybe you could relate to some time when you had tasted something of that sort or whatever. So it's like that. I mean, another aspect I was saying about creativity is that it's very rewarding. Okay, so a creative person, if he is able to monetize his creativity, or if he doesn't have to monetize his creativity for whatever reason, he's like well-versed and whatever, then that act of doing something creative is like tension-free, stress-free. I mean, being free of stress and being free of tension is a precursor to do something creative. It's not like doing business, or it's not like being a data scientist or a mathematician, because stress and tension and worry for a marketeer or for the people of these things these are like, they can't, if they don't have that, then there's something wrong. They won't be able to do their job, because there's a little amount of worry always needed to continue things in the real world. And this is something which Steve Jobs also said, right? You need to be in a state of constant worry. But to do something creative, you actually have to get out of that state of worry. If you're worried about what I'm going to create, will it be great or will it be bad, or like should I create, or like if you get worried about it a lot, then it will not come out, because you're just you're focusing too much on what is going to come out of it than what it is, like what you need to, like the feel of it. You're too worried about that. For being creative, I think you should have an attitude of I can create something and throw it away. It's okay for me to throw it. I don't want to do too many things about it. I don't want to dwell in it